Welcome to the True North Podcast. I'm Mark Davis. My colleague is Dr. Frank Griffin. This podcast is designed to help you find your path forward. It is a culmination of two visions. One of Frank's that he had. He reached out to me, thought I would be a good cohort, and I had a vision I was working on. Those two collided, and True North Podcast was created. So as I mentioned that vision, that's what we want to talk to you about today. And the vision being defined as a manifestation of what's in your mind and your desired outcome. Awesome. So you connect all of those together, and that's what vision is. You should be able to see things that don't exist today. That's vision. And I like to say you can see around corners. You can see well beyond what your eyes can see. So, Frank, as we walk through, I'm sure you'll have some scriptural aspects to add to the story. I think that'll help the team. And I'll have some real life examples that I've used. So I'll turn it over to you.
I appreciate it, Mark. Yeah, I'm excited about today's topic, vision. I think it's something that every household must have, right? You got to have it. A vision. There's a lot of definitions for vision, and I've got like a 7-step process, but I'll blow through them pretty quickly. And Mark, just interject wherever you think you need to. But I'm really excited about this. A vision, one definition of vision is the ability to see beyond your reach. So every household needs to be someone, the head of the household, to be able to see things beyond where they are today, to be able to make progress. In order to make progress in life, you need to have a vision of reaching beyond where you are today. So necessary.
So Frank, he didn't get going too far before I had a thought or a comment I'd like to add. For young families, I can remember when I was in my late 20s and we were looking for our first home, my wife and my 3 kids. I would put all the family in our minivan and drive through neighborhoods we thought we might want to live in.
Awesome.
So it was sharing that vision with the family so all could get excited about what we were going to do. And guess what? We ended up finding the neighborhood we wanted, built the house, and the rest is history.
Man, that's profound. When you talk about head of households, you want to get everyone on board, right? You want people to be excited. I remember early on in our marriage, my wife and kids, and telling my wife, baby, just hang in there. It's going to get better. Hang in there. All these bills won't continue to come. The phone calls won't continue. The phone won't continue to ring. You don't have to act like I'm not home. You know, it's going to get better. And I said that. Daddy said he's not home. I was like, oh, no. So I said, I told her that. I said, baby, it's going to get better. It's going to get better, right? Sidebar, I don't want to digress. I just appreciate my wife. I remember, it was years that she wouldn't buy anything. She would not shop. We didn't have it. Right? And I said, baby, it's going to get better. Now there's a box coming twice a day, but I won't say a thing because it was years.
Yes.
And she didn't complain. And Mark, I know your wife. I've known her for 40 years. She's
same
thing. Same thing. So, every Amazon box that comes up that doesn't have my name on, I don't mind, right? But I digress. I had to go there. But vision, I had a vision, just like you had a vision, that things were going to get better. And I have these 7 steps that I want to talk about today. And Mark, just jump in them, right? The first step is dream big. Dream big, right? Sometimes we limit our vision because we're on the wrong side of the tracks. Right. Mama didn't have it. Daddy didn't have it. Grandpa didn't have it. Nobody in my family ever had it, like both of our lives, Mark and I. Right. But it doesn't stop you from dreaming big. Right. In most cases, even with your big dream, you are falling short of your possibilities. The Bible says, I have not seen, nor ear heard, nor entered into the heart of men those things that God has for them that love him. Right? You cannot even imagine what God has for you. So you should dream big. Don't be afraid to dream big and have a big vision. I tell people to have a BHAG. BHAG stands for big, hairy, audacious goal. Everybody needs to have a BHAG, a big vision, big, hairy, huge, right? You don't know how you're going to get there yet, but it's in your spirit. It's in your soul. So that's number one. Let me move on.
So
Number two.
let me
go ahead,
connect
John.
with that one, Franco.
Good.
Real life experience. When I was just a kid, I realized real quickly that the environment what I was in did not match my vision for myself. Now, of course, as I wasn't even a teenager at that point, I didn't know about vision, but I knew they're not doing as well as I think I can. And that was part of ultimately my vision for myself.
That's awesome. I believe that, God places a seed in us, and some of us kind of bury it because we look at the environment around us and we think what I feel in me doesn't match what's outside of me, right? But what's in you is always going to be bigger than what's around you. Your goal is try to just push it out of you, right? So and that's exactly what happened to you. I remember you were just different, always. The clothes you wore, the swag you had, you just always was different, right? And it's okay to be different, okay, to be because you had a vision, right? And it was always bigger than everything else around you, around us. So that's appropriate. So think big, think big. Number two, the Bible says, write the vision and make it plain on tables. So then Mark talked about, and then it goes on to say that someone can pick it up and run with it. That's what Mark was doing when he got the family together, so the family can run with him with the vision. But the Bible says, write the vision and make it plain on tables. There's tons of research out there that says that anyone who writes down their vision, right, their vision or their plan will be more likely to achieve their goals. And you Google it, every Google article will tell you that, right? And the Bible, right, the first Google article, right, was clearly letting us know that we need to write it down. There was a reason for that. When you write it down, it does something to your spirit. It activates something beyond what we understand, and we need to do that. So that's step number two, right? So once you have a vision, this big, hairy, audacious goal, write it down, number two. Number three, break it apart. Break it apart. What happens is, if it's a true vision, this big BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goal, it's going to be so big, it's going to scare you. It's going to be big and hairy, and you're not going to know what to do with it. Like, this doesn't make sense. I don't see any of this, right? What you got to do is you got to break it apart, right? I always say that, how do you eat an elephant? Someone said this, I didn't make it up, but how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You got this big elephant, right? You need to eat this elephant. How do you do it? Just one bite at a time. After you take a bite over time, the elephant will be consumed, just like your vision. So you got to break it apart, right? Right.
So let me add real quick to that, Frank.
Good.
Sorry to break your train of thought.
No, you're good.
One of the things that you'll find on that pathway as you break it apart and you take step by step, it's not all easy. You're going to find times when you're really deep in a hole and you're wondering, can I really pull this off? Yes, you can. You just got to stay with it. Good. If not that, then what?
Right. Just accept where you are. Life, we have to progress. Life is about progression, right? So I get excited when we talk about vision. I really do. So, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what you're saying, because, the negative things that happen in life, which is going to happen, guaranteed. You can't let that get in your way, right? So once the vision is clear in your mind and you write it down, right, start building a roadmap. Break it apart and start building a roadmap or a plan to get you there. That's number three. Number four, just get started. There is a lot of research on this too, that typically for most people, the biggest struggle for most of us is just getting started, right? That diet, that workout plan, that education that we want, whatever it is that we need to do. And Mark, I see you smiling, but just get started is important. There's some research, something that's called MVA, minimal viable action. Sometimes to get started, what you do is just focus on the smallest of things. It might be a phone call, right? You want to go to school. For example, I'm just making this up. You want to go back to school. It might be that you start out, don't pick something huge that you have to accomplish. Just make a phone call about, the school and get some information sent to you, right? Just take the minimal viable action to get you going. That's very important. Once you get going, right? Once you're in motion, right, it's physics. Although I didn't do very well in physics, but I won't go there. Once you're, in motion, right, will stay in motion in most cases.
Kinetic energy.
Kinetic energy. Absolutely. Absolutely. So you got to take that potential. Man, we're going back, aren't we?
Yeah. Yeah.
We got to take that Purdue. I digress, but I was in a physics class once giving out negative scores. I think we talked about this in one of the previous podcasts.
We did.
Negative scores. The average were like 17. People were getting like negative 12 on. If you guess, he took points off. So anyway, once you get going, that potential that's in you, that seed of greatness that God planted in you from the beginning, right? Once you get going, right, that motion wants to stay in motion. So what you got to do is just start with the minimum viable action, right? MVA. That's number 4. Number 5, continuous focus. Huge. This is where we struggle getting going, but this is a big step. And let me slow down. You got to have continuous focus. Once you get started with the MVA, minimum viable action, you can't stop until you reach your goal. You need to keep it going.
What I'd add to that real quick, Frank, is that you will find over time it soaks into your DNA. So, growing up, being real here,
that's
folks
good.
who were smoking weed or drinking, that didn't line up with my vision. So therefore, I had a choice to make. My choice, that doesn't line up with me. And like I shared with you earlier, you got to be careful with people when you're in pursuit of your own vision and your own destiny. Because the reality is not everybody's in your corner. You hope as you make steps, people will be excited for you. That group, I can tell you, is a lot smaller group than you think. So you got to be mindful of that, and that your vision is very personal. The other thing is you got to guard your vision jealously, because some folks might throw roadblocks out in front of you. Today we call them haters, to try to derail you from what you're planning to do. And the real reason is they don't want to put any work. No. You'll find them in the same place they were 5 years from now, looking for you in the same place. You're long gone.
That's right. That's right. So you got to have a vision for yourself that you don't want to be where you were 5 years ago. Me and Mark were talking earlier this week, and we're just talking about stuff we want to do in the future, right?
Yes.
We don't want to be, and we're in a good place. Both of us are in a pretty good place. He's really in a good place, but I won't get into that. But we're both in a pretty good place.
We're both doing well.
We're both doing okay. But even though where we are now, we have vision of doing greater things. We talked about it. I mean, Leah, a tremendous legacy behind us, right? And we believe we can get there. Yes. We're crazy enough to believe that we can get there, right? So, but the thing about, and Mark talked about this, those people who are drinking, smoking weed, they start building, I took a note here, building habits, negative habits. You know what? Habits are not bad. Negative habits are bad. You can build habits to success. And I digress a little bit, but this is what I'm talking about, right? So you can, if you build a habit to force you to do positive things, then you will be on autopilot towards success. Isn't that awesome?
Yes, it is.
It's awesome, right? What we got to do is start spending time building positive habits, and then your mind and your body will just automatically do it. And you'll look up and you will be in a successful place effortlessly. I'm reading a book now called Effortless, right? We try to make things difficult, but if we put our plane on autopilot, it'll get us there. It'll get us there. So that's the side. I didn't have that on my notes, but that was good, Mark. So build positive habits.
Let me jump in on the positive habits. I give you an example. Part of my vision included financial literacy. So a positive habit for me is anything I could grab that would help educate me on financial literacy, whether I read it before or not, didn't matter. Money Magazine, Smart Money, And then on TV, I'd set my VCR to record educational tools for finance on TV, and I would watch them. So to your point, Frank, positive habits. I wasn't conscious of it then in terms of I'm doing this for this reason. I was doing it because it became natural to me.
It did. It did. And you could tell he's been doing it for a while because he said VCR. But let me tell you a little story. I'll brag about my friend. My friend was listening to AM radio back in the 80s about financial goals. He was. While we were, playing in the streets, he would listen to AM radio with people talking about, achieving financial goals. It was inevitable for Mark to be where he is today. It was.
That's where the source of information was.
Yeah, that's what AM, because FM was all about music. At that time, FM was nothing but music, right? So while I was listening to WTLC, what was one of the DJs? I don't know.
Bruce Williams was who I was listening to.
Yeah, you were listening to Bruce Williams. That's right. Talking about, assets and stocks and bonds. But so by doing that, he was building positive habits that success, he couldn't get out of the way of success. He was on autopilot, right? So I want you guys to get that. If you start doing the right steps now, you look back in a few years and you'll be there. You'll be there. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Continuous focus, I'd said, once you focus, get started with your minimum viable action, right? You can't stop until you reach your goals. Those small steps you break apart that we talked about in step 3, work on those steps a little every day or no less than every week. You have to continuously work on those steps, right? In some cases, you want to just include them in your normal weekly or daily routine, right? That you will start getting them done, right? Just like brushing your teeth and showering and combing your hair, right? That's just part of your normal routine. Start doing those steps towards success, towards your vision, towards your plan on a daily basis. Continuous progress is the only way to achieve your goals, right? You got to do it. Go ahead.
Let me connect the word work you used to action. Good. So I picked up this saying. It's not an original, but I really like vision without action is a dream.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Action without a vision is wasting time. I found that to be, a handful of words in my mind sums it up.
You need action. At the end of the day, the Bible even talks about faith without works is dead. Mm-hmm. Faith is one of the most powerful forces in the universe.
Yeah.
You can move mountains with faith. You can do all kind of things with faith, right? But if you don't have any works with it, the Bible says it's dead, right? Same thing with your vision. You got to have action, and you need continuous action, right? Daily, weekly, put it in your plan to work on this at least on a weekly basis, right? You got to have it, or you just continue to dream. You know what? Dreaming, as you remember, was step number 1.
Yeah.
The problem is, and you and I laughed about this. You talked about, some people will talk about, that's all they do. They stay in dream mode. They stay in dream mode. You start there. You got to have it, but you got to get out of it. You got to get out of it. You got to move on. So that's good. That's good. All right. We covered 5. I only got 2 more. The 6th part is very important because your vision is so big, it's big and hairy and audacious. It's going to take time. We got to understand that it's going to take time. Don't expect a big, hairy, audacious goal, your vision, the great seed that God placed inside of you, to just be here tomorrow, right? It's not going to work out that way. Some people look and kind of see where, we are, market. He put in work. Mark put in the work. I know he did. I was with him along that. You put in the work and then you get there, right? So it takes time. It takes time. So step number 6 is stay positive. You're going to have good times. You're going to have bad times. You're going to have mountaintops. You're going to have valleys, right? And the Bible says something I thought was the Bible is awesome, right? We think that the Bible is like, it's obligated reading, but we don't realize it's the instruction manual to life. I find it navigates my life. It's not just something that we need to do so we can check the mark and say, oh, I read the Bible. It is an instruction manual to life. But the Bible says, finally, brethren, this is Paul, I believe, whatever things are true, whatever things are honest, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, And if there be any praise, think on these things. The Bible is clear concerning not spending your creative time and energy dwelling on negative things. It's clear, right? And then there's science backing that up.
Yes.
Real quick, and I read this years ago and I loved it. I'll tell a quick story. It's supposed to be a true story. It was about this kid. I read this in a book. A kid who went off to college. He was gone August, September, October. He came home November for Thanksgiving. Been away for a while. Came home for Thanksgiving. They were sitting at the table with the family. The mother said, "Go and get the salt and pepper shaker." The kid gets up, goes in the kitchen, which is the kitchen he grew up in, but he hadn't been around in 3 or 4 months. He looked. And, after 15 seconds or so, the people at the table were like, "What's going on?" And he yells back, "Mom, I can't find it. I don't see it." The mother says, "Keep looking. It's there. I just saw it." So he looks another 10 seconds. The mother gets up. The salt and pepper shaker was literally right in front of him. If it was a snake, it would have bit him. It was right there. But what the book I read talked about, it created, when he said, "I can't find it, I don't see it," it created something called scotoma. Scotoma literally means blind spot. Your brain is so powerful. We need to understand this. We can use it for good or evil. The brain is so powerful that when he said a negative thing, as simple as "I can't find it, I don't see it," it created a blind spot where he could not see it. It was right there. But when you focus on negative things, it actually narrows your brain's ability to help you achieve your goals. That's science. That's not Frank. I wish it was Frank. I would be even a better place. But that's science, right? So what you got to do is you got to think on positive things to open up your mind's ability to help you achieve your goals. Very important. Very important, right? So stay positive, y'all. Stay positive. You're going to want to, the world will throw negativity at you. Haters will throw negativity at you, right? But you want to stay as positive as possible. Stay positive as possible. The last point, go ahead, man.
No, go ahead.
All right. The last point I want to cover is number 7, learn from failure. Don't stop at failure, right? Mark and I have failed. He's laughing. He's going to fall out of his chair, right? We know. We were together in some of those cases. We know. Yeah, but you can't let that stop you. Failure is just another part of the process. It's a stop sign, right? Or a stoplight in your road toward your destination, your destiny.
I would add to that, Frank, and I share this with a lot of folks that I work with, is the best you is on the other side of that difficulty, whatever it might be. You're going to be a better person on the other side of that.
That's good.
I know biblically it says, "Yea, do I walk through." It didn't say go around.
All right. That's it. That's
Over, under, it said through. And on the back end of that, you're going to be a better person. I'm a witness, and I've had that a million times. It's not fun going through. It has a lot of pain, but you keep on marching.
God uses issues to train us. We don't like it, right? Yes. But he's about the process. Because as we're trying to get to that destiny, that destination, he wants to build us so we can be strong enough to maintain what we achieve.
Yeah.
Right?
If he can't trust you with a little, how's he going to trust you with a lot?
A lot. He can't do it. So what he does is he takes you through tough times and you learn to get stronger. It's like in the gym for God, right? They say that there's a lot of facts that people who win the lottery that are poor people that win the lottery, within a couple of years, they're broke again.
It's gone.
Right, it's gone because they didn't learn how to handle all those resources. God doesn't want that. So God, what he does, he takes you to kind of a long way around, make sure that you learn and you build yourself. So once you get there, you're strong enough to maintain the glory that he gives you, right? He's all about the process.
And if your vision was to be comfortable, I won't even say well off, comfortable, you'll have a good idea of how to handle those lottery winnings.
Oh, man.
And first and foremost is you won't let everybody put their hands in your pocket. That's one.
That's
You will
right.
educate yourself,
You will.
but you won't let everybody have their hands in your pocket.
You'll learn. You'll learn.
Yep.
You'll learn what's important, right? So that's why the process, God is about the process and time. Don't be discouraged that it's taking time, right? If you got it quickly, you probably won't be able to hold on to it.
Yeah,
I
would
find
agree.
that to be so true. I find that to be so true.
So
right?
one I'll share with you, Frank, because you can't get off of this podcast and talk about me. Frank, as you can see, organized. He has 7 steps. Frank is an engineer. He has a master's degree, and I think he has a couple of theology degrees, including a doctorate.
That's
so
correct.
There's some background there that you all ought to pick up on, and the vision he had to have for himself to get from where he was to where he is. It's not by accident. It's by part of the Mamba mentality.
That's right.
If you haven't watched our video, our podcast on that,
that's good.
Find that one.
Yeah,
you'll appreciate that.
Yeah, you will.
And time budgeting. I'll just give you a teaser on that. Find that one as well. You'll learn some things.
You will. You're absolutely right. It took a vision and then putting out a plan and then carrying out that plan. And something, Mark, I know you talk about quite a bit is discipline.
Yeah.
The discipline. You got to have that discipline, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I couldn't pick up those degrees unless I was able to not just dream about it,
but the action.
But take the steps and the action, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Without action, all this is dead.
Yeah.
Without action, right? They used to teach us, the multiplication tables, you got to learn 1 times 1 is, anytime times 0 is 0. I learned that early. I knew that one. I got that right on my test, right? Yeah. It could be a 5,300,000,000,000,000 times 0.
It's 0.
And you can have a big 5,300,000,000,000,000 dream, but if you don't have any action, it ends up as 0.
So when one day we'll get to talking about marriages and especially from the perspective of a male. Yeah. And a little tidbit for the ladies is if it's you're doing fine on your own, you add your man and you're not doing any better, that's 1 + 1 = 0.
That's true.
Or 1 + 1 = 1. He didn't add anything.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. Yeah. That's good. Yeah.
Who wants to be a 0? If your man wants to be a 0, you might want to make a better choice. And you'll know it.
Absolutely.
By what's in him, what's with him. He can't have excuses forever. I'll give you one and then I'll pass it back to you. I was sitting down with a relative's boyfriend. This guy was a man of a certain age. He was north of 50. And I tell you, in an hour, he talked about 4 businesses that he was, I'm going to work on this. I'm going to get masked on. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And I asked him, I said, so which one of them is paying dividends? He could not answer the question. He works 9 to 5, and I get that, but it's just talk.
A dream. You got stuck in a dream mode.
Is a dream. And you're telling me, and I'm thinking, I'm not getting anything out of this, man. And I've lived long enough to know what you're doing. And it's like, show me results of something.
Yeah.
So his vision is clearly a dream, a set of dreams.
Yeah.
But no results. So anyway.
He needs to listen to this and start working through those steps, right? The issue is he's in step 1. Nothing wrong with that. But you got to go from there. You got to move on. Those 7 steps are very important, right? Just recap real quickly.
Yeah, thank you.
So, first step is dream big. Like my brother, Mark was talking about our brother, right? He's in step 1, but you can't stop there. Step 2 is you got to write it down. You write it down, it triggers something, right? So you got to get that going. Write it down. Step 3 is break it apart. Don't be so afraid of it. Once you break it apart into digestible chunks. Step number 4, just get started. Find something small to allow you to get started. Step number 5 is continuous focus. You got to work on it every day or at least every week, right? Continuous focus. You got to be dedicated. You have to have discipline. Step number 6, life is going to throw you some curveballs. Got to stay positive. As soon as you dwell on negativity, you limit your mind's ability to help you achieve it. There is no computer greater than our mind. They try to create them, but the mind is amazing. It does millions of functions behind the scenes that we're not even aware of, right? Give your mind the ability to help you along the way. And the way you do that is don't clutter it up with a bunch of junk. Just like a hard drive, if it has a lot of extra junk on it, it slows down the processing speed. Get rid of all that clutter, negativity, and allows your mind to flow. That's creativity, right? I can go off. I'm not going to go there. I get caught up. But anyway, stay positive. And then last thing is learn from failure. Don't allow failure to stop you, right? Failure is just part of the problem. You learn from it. Like, oh, okay, that don't work. That's important information. Right? I can tell you about 12 things that don't work, and you just stay away from those things, right? That's important. That's data. That's data. So failure is not to stop you. Failure is to inform you. Allow failure to inform you, not stop. Mark, anything else before we close out?
I think that's it on vision. And I'm sure as we move through our series of podcasts, we'll connect vision and planning. So we'll amplify the planning component.
Get into more
even
detail.
more. Yeah, exactly. So, that's all I had for today.
All right. Well, Mark, I appreciate it, man. I'm excited about vision. Hopefully that was good for someone, right? We'll talk to everyone real soon. Thank you.
Thanks, all.